Our story kicks off with a hardcore gamer logging into his favorite classic RPG, Legend of Heroes 2. He's known as Outboxer009, the absolute undisputed #1 player on the server. And he's not shy about flexing his 22-month win streak on the rest of the community. His eternal rival, Yellowstorm, a highly skilled player who's been hard stuck in second place for almost 2 years. Today's the monthly rank reset, and once again, Outboxer snatches the crown by a razor-thin margin. Yellowstorm absolutely loses their mind in the chat before rage quitting, prompting Outboxer to log off with a smug grin. But instead of hitting the pillow, a strange digital phenomenon pulls them straight out of their reality. He wakes up gasping for air in a massive, unfamiliar bedroom. Checking the mirror, he gets the shock of a lifetime. He's completely transmigrated into the body of Jude Bayer, his in-game character. There's just one huge problem. This is the incredibly weak, sickly early-game version of Jude. His internal panic is interrupted by Maja, his noble family's stoic personal maid. She brings some surprising news. His official fiancé has come to visit, and in the game's lore, that fiancé is none other than Cordelia Chase. He goes to greet her, but the second they lock eyes, the universe drops a massive bomb on them. Their actual gamer tags are floating right above their heads. Cordelia realizes she's engaged to her mortal enemy and looks ready to snap his neck on the spot. After calming down a bit, the two rivals sit across from each other in absolute, agonizing awkwardness. To be 100% sure, Jude leans in and tests her with a super obscure gamer greeting. She violently flinches, proving without a doubt that she's the salty second-place veteran. Since they can't talk freely with the NPCs around, Jude uses hardcore no-lifer jargon to drop a secret meeting time and coordinates. She catches the drift immediately, giving him a subtle Roger before taking her leave. Jude lets out a massive sigh of relief. Having another top-tier player in this death trap of a world is an absolute game-changer. Later that night, he sneaks out to the estate's garden and spots his rival waiting in the moonlight. It's time to figure out how to survive this mess together. Later that night, Jude sneaks out to the estate's garden to meet up with his fierce gaming rival. To break the ice and prove it's really him, Jude hits her with a legendary IRL meme face. And she instantly fires back with the exact same energy. Yep, these two are definitely terminally online gamers. Getting down to business, Jude explains his character's major handicap, the 9-blocked yin pathways. He's basically a fragile glass cannon without the cannon. But Jude gets a massive shock of his own when he realizes Yellowstorm, the player now stuck in Cordelia's beautiful body, was actually a dude in real life. Existential dread starts to set in. They realize their in-game memories feel completely natural. They didn't just get dropped into a game. This is reality now, and according to the lore, this entire world is destined for absolute fiery destruction. Putting their toxic rivalry aside, the two undisputed champions officially form a party to save their own skins. Step 1. Cure Jude's terminal illness. He desperately needs an item overflowing with yang energy to unblock his pathways. He targets the Necklace of the Sun, but Cordelia instantly freaks out, reminding him it drops from a mid-game boss and they are currently level 1. Jude smirks, telling her he has a genius speedrunner strategy and suggests they go on a date to pull it off. The next day, they put on a disgustingly sweet, fake romantic act to sneak out to a remote flower bed away from their watchful personal maids. Once out of earshot, Cordelia drops the cutesy act and demands the actual plan. Jude points to a massive cliff edge and tells her the strategy. She's going to carry him and jump straight off. It's a classic terrain shortcut, but to ensure the non-magical maids don't try to climb down after them, she has to use their fake engagement to do something crazy as a distraction. Jude whispers the final humiliating step, making Cordelia completely lose her mind and scream at him. But with the maids getting highly suspicious and closing in fast on their location, Cordelia bites the bullet. She grabs his hand, cursing her fate. Casts a flight spell and absolutely yeets the both of them off the cliff, leaving their maids screaming in pure horror. They land safely at the bottom of the cliff, magic cushioning their fall. To stop their maids from following, Cordelia screams up that she wants to spend some alone time with Jude. With the maids completely stunned by the spicy excuse, the two gamers bolt into the forest to execute their heist. But thanks to his blocked pathways, Jude's stamina hits rock bottom. 10 minutes in, he completely faceplints into the dirt. Having zero choice, Cordelia is forced to piggyback her frail rival the rest of the way. They finally arrive at their destination, the ancient abandoned temple of the sun god. Deep inside, they locate the exact room where the mid-game boss, Lysagang, is sealed. Jude asks for the supplies, and Cordelia hikes up her skirt, revealing a tactical thigh holster packed with magic ink. Using his encyclopedic game knowledge, Jude meticulously draws Velastin's magic circle, a high-tier demon confinement trap right over the boss's platform. Since they are only level 1, Jude has Cordelia drop a single drop of her blood to bypass the activation cost and siphon the temple's ambient holy magic instead. The original seal shatters, revealing the massive, terrifying demon chained in the center of the room. Instantly, Jude's trap springs into action, clamping down and rechaining the boss before it can even twitch. Cordelia immediately spots the shiny prize hanging from the demon's neck, the necklace of the sun. Going full loot goblin mode, she uses her staff to carefully hook the chain and successfully snatches the item. But just as they celebrate, the demon's eyes snap open, and it unleashes a deafening roar that blasts them back. Panicking, Cordelia doesn't hesitate. She point-blank blasts the chain boss right in the face with a magic missile. The crazy, desperate attack actually does damage, and Jude suddenly starts glowing with a massive level-up effect. By exploiting the game's EXP mechanics, doing just a single point of damage to a high-level boss sends their levels skyrocketing. Cordelia goes absolutely unhinged, spamming magic missiles at the helpless, chained demon like a complete maniac. Not wanting to miss out on the sweet, sweet loot, Jude steps up, chanting the sacred prayer of the sun god. Since his energy pathways are still blocked, he literally just runs up and bonks the terrifying boss on the head with the holy relic to claim his share of the experience. But their farming session is cut short when Jude warns her they only have 1 minute left before the trap completely shatters. The seal breaks and the furious demon vows to hunt them down, but Jude just cheekily waves goodbye, telling him they'll see him in Act 7. With the boss gone, Cordelia asks about his blocked pathways. He admits the extreme yang energy from the necklace will take some time to slowly melt the blockages. Exhausted and with his legs turning to jelly, Jude shamelessly asks for another piggyback ride, which Cordelia reluctantly accepts with a sigh. Their little stunt doesn't go unpunished, though. Once they get back, both are slapped with a miserable 10-day house arrest. During his confinement, Jude realizes that if they want to survive the impending Armageddon, they desperately need to get stronger fast. Meanwhile, across the estate, Cordelia wakes up with a sudden chill, sensing that her rival is definitely plotting something annoying. Her suspicions are confirmed when her maid bursts in, squealing about a romantic love letter from Jude. Cordelia opens it and physically cringes at the cheesy opening line, internally screaming. But her gamer brain kicks in. She reads the first letter of each line and decodes a hidden meetup spot, the Temple of Varuna, in 2 days. Fast forward to the meetup, their oblivious maids drop them off for what they think is a spicy secret date. Once they're alone inside the confessional, Cordelia drops the act and demands to know why they're here. She religiously read the community strategy guides back on Earth. There are absolutely no quests at this temple. But Jude just flashes a smug grin. He tells her there is a hidden event here, but he never posted it on the forums because he wanted to keep the epic loot all to himself. Cordelia grabs her head in absolute disbelief. This hoarder purposely kept the juiciest secrets off the strategy forums. He reveals his ultimate hidden gem, a magical dungeon book that literally teleports players into a virtual labyrinth. And the best part, the clear reward is a rare skill book. Since Jude never cleared it with a mage build, Cordelia gets hyped realizing she'll be the first to claim the mystery prize. Without wasting another second, they open the glowing tome and get sucked right in. But virtual reality hits different. Cordelia instantly gets hit with massive motion sickness, clutching her stomach in pure agony. Once she recovers, she forcefully pinches Jude to test the realism. He screams in pain, confirming that if they take damage in here, it's gonna hurt like hell. To keep them alive, Jude reveals his prep. A handful of high-tier magic stones he casually swiped from her family's stash. He also whips out a stack of custom-made magic scrolls. Cordelia is absolutely baffled that he managed to memorize the complex formulas all by himself. But Jude isn't just the tactician, he's the support. He forcefully hands her mana potions, basically treating her like his personal magic turret. They delve deeper into the dungeon and spot their first squad of goblins. Jude literally points and yells, "Go Yellowstorm, I choose you," making Cordelia cringe out of her mind before jumping into the fray. She unloads an absolute barrage of magic missiles, lighting up the corridor. When Earth attribute reinforcements charge them, she perfectly times a grease spell, making the monsters completely wipe out on the slippery floor. A quick bind spell wraps the fallen goblin up in glowing chains, securing an easy kill. It becomes a ruthless grinding loop. Jude force-feeds her mana potions while she spams spells, completely speedrunning the mob waves. 5 exhausting hours later, Cordelia drops to her knees. Her real-world stamina is failing, especially since she's trying to dungeon crawl in high heels. Still, she can't help but be impressed. Jude's intricate maps and perfect timing are hard carrying this entire run. Checking their stat screens, the crazy grind paid off. Cordelia is level 7 and Jude hit level 8. As they reach the massive boss door, Cordelia suddenly panics, realizing they've been in here for 5 hours while their maids are waiting outside. But Jude hits her with the ultimate gamer math. Time moves way slower in the virtual dungeon. 20 minutes inside equals just 1 minute outside, meaning they still have plenty of time to secure the bag. Jude and Cordelia finally reach the massive, ominous doors of the boss room. Cordelia instantly starts panicking when she realizes the boss is a level 17 Fury Wolf, a lightning-fast electric-type monster. She even accuses Jude of kill-stealing all the goblins earlier just to leave her hanging against a boss they can't beat. But Jude just smirks, revealing a fat stack of magic scrolls he prepared specifically for this exact fight. Pushing through the heavy doors, the terrifying Fury Wolf materializes and locks eyes with them instantly. The beast charges like a bullet, but Jude casually sidesteps its predictable linear attack. Cordelia perfectly follows up his dodge, hitting the boss with a double bind to chain it down and a grease spell so it completely loses its footing. Knowing her low-level spell won't hold the beast for long, she screams at Jude to use his scrolls. Jude immediately begins tearing the paper, blasting the monster with repeated bolts of raw lightning. But Cordelia watches in horror as the beast easily powers through the magic and charges straight for her. Acting fast, she blasts it with a waterfall spell, allowing Jude's lightning to trigger a massive, super-effective elemental reaction. But instead of taking damage, the electric-type wolf violently absorbs all the energy. Cordelia realizes with sinking dread what Jude is actually doing. He's deliberately overcharging the boss, triggering its terrifying awakened form. Cordelia violently curses him out. It turns out that killing this wildly overleveled, awakened version is the hidden requirement to get the rare B-rank skill book. The supercharged wolf locks onto Cordelia, entirely abandoning its previous attack patterns. It rapidly zigzags past her spells, closing the distance in an absolute flash. Just as the beast lunges for the fatal blow, Jude suddenly steps right in front of her. He dumps every single remaining magic scroll onto the ground at his feet, and triggers a massive point-blank explosion to wipe out the boss. But the wolf's momentum is too fast. Jude gets completely impaled, flashing a crazy smile right before the attack literally tears through him. Since it's a virtual dungeon, dying just safely boots you out, leaving Cordelia standing there completely shell-shocked by his suicidal play. Cordelia snaps back to reality, gagging as the foulest stench imaginable hits her nose. Jude drops his edgy persona, revealing it was all a tactical play. He purposefully aggroed the beast so he could hit it with a custom-made stink bomb to ruin its super-sensitive tracking. Cordelia has to admit, the #1 player definitely knows his stuff. With the boss completely disoriented, Cordelia capitalizes on the opening. She flexes a newly learned spell to literally pull the floor out from under the beast. A massive system prompt goes off, rewarding them for taking down the overpowered boss. They successfully completed the hidden event. 2 glowing skill books drop from the sky, matching their respective classes perfectly. Jude grabs his prize, the 36 Sky Steps, a high-tier agility skill that can eventually be upgraded into absolute teleportation. And Cordelia snags the fire missile, finally giving her a hard-hitting elemental attack to spam. But Jude isn't quite finished yet. Now that they're both decently leveled, he wants to hit the next major plot point, the Demon Hand Invasion event. In exactly 2 weeks, a massive cult of demon worshippers is destined to attack a high society gathering. In the game's original timeline, Cordelia was the only survivor. She had to watch all of her friends, family, and even her loyal maid get slaughtered right in front of her eyes. Jude looks her dead in the eye and promises that this time, they are going to completely hijack the scenario and save everyone. Remembering how much her maid deeply cares for her, Cordelia fiercely agrees to the new game plan. But there's just one major problem. Because of his illness, Jude wasn't originally invited to the party. He'll have to pull some serious strings just to get through the front door. After logging out of the dungeon, Jude spends the next week relentlessly training his physical body, pushing his stamina to the absolute limit. His instructor is genuinely moved to tears, amazed to see the sickly young master finally pushing past his physical limits. But their heartwarming training montage is suddenly interrupted when his personal maid, Maja, sprints into the courtyard in an absolute panic. Maja drops a total bomb on Jude. The letter he just received isn't from Cordelia. It's a direct summons from her terrifying father, Count Arthur Chase. Jude goes into full panic mode, terrified that the Count found out he made his precious daughter jump off a cliff. Maja tries to reassure him by bringing up their official engagement, but the thought of facing his angry father-in-law just makes him sweat even harder. Dame Dahlia escorts him to the drawing room, and Jude braces for impact as the massive doors swing open. Meanwhile, far away on a monster-hunting expedition, Jude's own father reads a sudden dispatch detailing his son's miraculous physical recovery. Hearing that Jude is finally getting healthy enough to learn martial arts, the legendary swordsman beams with absolute pride. Back at the Chase estate, Jude sits rigidly across from the terrifying battle mage. The silence in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife. Trying to act natural, Jude takes a sip of the provided tea, but internally freaks out when he realizes it's suspiciously sweet. Is it poisoned? Suddenly, Count Chase breaks the silence, effortlessly sliding a small wooden box across the table. Jude pops it open and his jaw drops. Inside is an extreme yang pill, a ridiculously rare elixir perfect for curing his blocked pathways. The Count awkwardly clears his throat, bringing up the rumors he heard about Cordelia having to literally carry Jude to safety during their outing. Not wanting his future son-in-law to be a complete ragdoll, the Count slides over a second box packed with legendary 5-star strength berries. The pieces finally click in Jude's gamer brain. The tea was made extra sweet just to wash down the intensely bitter taste of the medicine. The overwhelming surge of yang energy knocks Jude out cold, sending him into a deep, restorative sleep in one of the manor's luxury guest rooms. When he finally wakes up, Jude realizes the terrifying, stoic Count is actually just a massive tsundere who already fully approves of him. At the table, Count Chase zeroes in on the couple's ring Jude is wearing. To Jude's shock, the Count bluntly tells him to throw it in the trash. It turns out Cordelia threw hers away a long time ago because she hated the arranged marriage. Instead of breaking the engagement, the Count just wants to make them a brand new set. Jude realizes right then and there, the terrifying battle mage is just a massive, completely incurable tsundere. The Count then slides over another box containing a legendary stamina berry, telling Jude to fix his frail body. Escaping the drawing room, Jude finds Cordelia pacing the halls, completely stressed out waiting for him. To ease her nerves, Jude smoothly shifts the mood and asks her out for a walk in the gardens. Outside, Cordelia quickly connects the dots. She realizes her dad fed Jude steroids specifically so he could carry her around, and she absolutely loses it. But as she leans in close, she notices his dark circles are completely gone. The blocked pathways are actually healing. With his body recovering, Cordelia warns him that his father is returning soon, which triggers the notorious Father's Test quest. In the original game, this exact quest was why Jude's character was considered bottom-of-the-barrel trash tier. It's an unskippable, absolutely brutal physical conditioning montage. Literally 100 push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and a 10-kilometer run every single day. Cordelia worries he won't finish in time for the upcoming party event, but Jude flashes a blinding smile, telling her it's fine because he has her. The sudden, unexpected riz hits Cordelia like a truck, leaving her completely flustered. Fast forward 1 week, Cordelia opens another letter from her favorite rival. While she's stressing over how to deal with his father's impending return, Jude just casually knocks and barges right in. He drops a total bombshell. His dad is returning today, and she needs to pack her bags for the Bale estate right now. Cut to noon, Jude snaps back to reality, sweating bullets as he and Cordelia sit at a highly tense dinner table with both of their terrifying, overpowered fathers. Staring blankly at her empty plate, Cordelia still can't quite figure out how she ended up sitting at this incredibly awkward dinner. Jude lays the charm on thick, publicly declaring Cordelia to be his absolute goddess of fortune. She internally gags at the massive compliment, feeling like she's going to throw up her dinner. But the tension shifts when Jude formally asks his father for permission to attend the upcoming high society gathering in Langest. His father's eyes instantly narrow. He bluntly refuses, stating that someone as physically weak as Jude has absolutely no business leaving the estate. Knowing this was coming, Jude mentally prepares himself, telling Cordelia it's time to trigger the next stage of their master plan. Cordelia instantly turns on the waterworks, staging an absolutely Oscar-worthy tantrum about how much she needs Jude to go with her. The terrifying Count Chase completely folds under his daughter's fake tears and immediately pressures Jude's father to let him go. Backed into a corner, Jude's father finally agrees, but on one brutal condition: Jude must begin his martial arts training this very afternoon. Later, out in the gardens, Cordelia panics, terrified that Jude's newly cured body won't handle the infamous Father's Test training montage. But Jude just smiles. He's a hardcore gamer, he lives for the grind. Meanwhile, back inside, Jude realizes he may have underestimated the physical toll. He's absolutely exhausted, leaving poor Maja worried sick about his sudden headaches. 4 agonizing days later, it's finally time to depart for Langest. Jude and Cordelia are both incredibly stiff and sore from their respective training regimens. Jude waves goodbye to his father, ready to officially kick off the main scenario and prevent the impending demonic massacre. But their journey hits a massive snag the very next morning when they discover the main bridge has completely collapsed, forcing their carriage to take a treacherous mountain detour. As their carriage takes the mountain detour, Cordelia gets hyped. This specific route triggers one of her favorite secret events from the game. Once night falls over the campsite, the two hardcore gamers quietly sneak past their guards and head straight into the woods. They quickly locate the exact coordinates, a secluded moonlit waterfall. In the original game, this was an infamous fan service event where Cordelia had to bathe in the creek and sing to summon a mystical being for top-tier loot. But Cordelia is way too embarrassed to do it in real life. Not willing to let the loot slip away, Jude shamelessly whips out a magic item and offers to do the bath scene himself. Refusing to let him steal her spotlight, Cordelia agrees to do it, but she throws an absolute fit about being the only one freezing half-naked. To make it fair, Jude casually strips down to his own in-game swim trunks, fully committing to the bit. After some hesitation, Cordelia finally steps out, completely flustered. She instantly catches Jude staring and glares daggers at him, forcing him to turn around. She steps into the creek, immediately screaming as the freezing winter water turns her into a total popsicle. But when it's time for the crucial step, Cordelia's brain completely short-circuits. She forgot the lyrics to the magical song. Panicking that they'll fail the event, Jude jumps in and hilariously starts belting out Twinkle Twinkle Little Star instead. Miraculously, the scuffed performance actually works. A brilliant orb of mystical light emerges from the trees. Jude flashes a massive grin, the hidden reward is finally theirs. Cordelia finishes her embarrassing rendition of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star while freezing in the creek. Miraculously, the scuffed performance works. A group of glowing fairies materialize, completely mesmerized by her beauty. Watching from the bushes, Jude checks his gamer knowledge. The event has successfully triggered, meaning the mini-boss should be spawning soon. But something is horribly wrong. Jude suddenly screams for her to get out of the water as a massive bicorn surfaces right next to her, completely off its usual spawn point. Before she can react, the beast uses telekinesis to trap Cordelia in a floating sphere of water, planning to kidnap her. She tries to break free, but the beast's magic violently throws her off balance, sending her plunging back towards the river. To pull aggro, Jude immediately fires off a barrage of magic missiles. He follows it up with a blinding flash of light, completely disorienting the fairies and making the beast stumble. Activating his newly acquired 36 sky steps, Jude practically glides across the water at breakneck speed. He whips out the necklace of the sun, channeling its intense holy energy directly into his fist. He completely folds the bicorn with a supercharged punch straight to the dome. But the level gap is still huge. Jude lands on a nearby rock, realizing a mid-level boss isn't going down with just one hit. Luckily, his partner is already locked and loaded. Cordelia raises her wand, infusing her spell with raw fire magic. She unleashes a massive, supercharged fire missile that absolutely nukes the beast into oblivion. Cordelia drops to her knees, completely exhausted but proud. Her overpowered fire missile literally evaporated half the creek. The bicorn finally collapses, seemingly defeated. However, Jude warns her not to drop her guard. This is a notorious mid-level boss, there's no way it's going down that easily. Suddenly, the beast snaps its head up and lets out a terrifying roar, trying to catch them off guard. But Cordelia is already 2 steps ahead. She instantly casts Dig, altering the terrain and creating a massive sinkhole beneath the charging beast. Following it up flawlessly, she hits the monster with Bind, trapping it in glowing golden chains right in the middle of the pit. She smirks, confident she's secured the kill, but the intense magic usage quickly drains her and she nearly collapses from mana exhaustion. Seeing her falter, the furious bicorn breaks free and violently launches itself out of the pit, completely enraged. But Cordelia just flashes a sinister grin. She anticipated the beast would try to escape. As the bicorn lands on the opposite riverbank, the ground completely shatters. She had secretly cast a second dig trap. With the boss temporarily immobilized, Jude finally steps up. He pulls out the necklace of the sun, preparing to unleash his trump card. He channels the holy energy, transforming the artifact into raw, crackling lightning. Blinding light erupts from Jude as he charges the beast, unleashing his brand new skill, the 36 sky steps. He moves faster than the eye can see, completely bypassing the bicorn's defenses and hitting it with a devastating lightning fist. The raw power of the attack drops the massive beast right back into the freezing water. The bicorn crashes down, completely defeated. The legendary gamers have successfully conquered the hidden event.